Now, I think I will remember why I've put the camera on. One of the things I always forget is that it's got a pause button, because I don't do pause. But I'm going to just say one thing and then put it on pause. My boot bonnet is left open, facing the wind, because I have to charge for 10 minutes. There's two things that need to be said. So yes, I am never sparked into saying anything by anybody else, ever. The thoughts, moments, kairoses, original thoughts. What's the Bob Dylan line? Give me just one person who's got an original thought. I never meet anybody who's got an original thought. Well, I met one woman. Anyway, what's so interesting but almost impossible? I mean, you can't change certain things, so there's almost no point in talking about them. But I heard a radio, one of the very, very most erudite, most widely respected, in other words, he'd get double the average performance fee if he were appearing at Hay or Cheltenham, which is just a copy of Hay, lovey-dovey literary festival for the more educated people. They think they're educated. Anyway, he referred this morning to Britain, a nation which fetishizes childhood. I mean, that kind of almost sums it up. Fetishizes childhood? What a wonky word. Now, I do not make any aspersions other than I long ago knew that British society, we're a society where we are so terrified of the fact we're no good at loving children. Well, speak for yourselves. I'm very good at it. It's one of the very few things in life I'm very, very, very good at. To my huge surprise, age just before I was 30, encountered some little ones. Fucking hell! I don't know anything about them, but I know they're to be loved, and I know finding a way to love them will be the hardest thing, but the most beautiful thing I've ever done. Anyway, it is this Johnny Diamond on Broadcasting House, refers to fetishizing children. So that's the intro, as in, we don't know how to love children, or the great majority. We're a society, our culture only demonstrates this over many years. In fact, it was better in the 50s and 60s. You would see films in good, intelligent people's cinema where there were scenes of children being genuinely, healthily, but fully, bodily. All of you has to go into a loving a child. Britain's become terribly, terribly wonky at that, which is the intro into part 2 I'm going to do in a moment. Once I've had a shave and a wash, my rubbish is organised, everything's organised. Might not look like it, but I'm an hour late on the day, and that's the genuine. I wake up every morning thinking I'm not going to bother ever writing, thinking another thought, but then I do, and I do need to stop because it's not actually enjoyable. It might be satisfying, and I might feel, somebody's birthday coming up. In fact, it's like, the reality is stuff that I wrote this morning and thought and put down and codified. Many thoughts, some have gone into conversation that I've put out over a decade, I've codified into certain things I've written this morning. Good for me, so what? It's no fun, vaguely satisfying, and actually it is a birthday present to somebody else. I only have one person in mind, but I don't think she has got the breadth, unfortunately too perverted and poisoned by this so lost society, where she would even be able to take it in. So, biggest waste of time ever, so be it. But I know I reached the place which I didn't know that place was here. Actually, that's not quite true. I kind of like never imagined I could get to the point of codifying and weaving and joining various dots such that they're down in something. I mean, unfortunately, anything I've created or written or said, you have to go back and read the context. And even then, the context isn't fully there. Bits I've skipped over, bits I've been a bit too coy, or was a year ago, to stick in. But I shall enjoy, I have no trepidation whatsoever about spending the next 10 years just filling in those holes. Never pointing the finger at any person individually, except for a few who are so beyond the pale. Jenny Dearden, I just made her, who are so beyond the pale and take tons of public money. I don't even want to do that. I mean, I said to myself 15 years ago, longer ago actually, 20 years ago, I've lived in this region for a decade and I've never met anybody worth pointing the finger at, and I still haven't. I'm not talking about this region now, I'm talking about past region. I've never met anybody worth. Ian Marchant, shabby, not worth pointing the finger at. Even the laughable, I mean, it's actually quite interesting, and I mustn't forget. I'm going to have to look over my videos again. Peter Florence, many years, sort of slightly on the fringe of his world, looking, what a dork of a man. And then I had an engagement with him in 2009. Peter! With my daughter. Peter, listen! You're always going on about the community. You don't actually do anything for it. But at the cash point in Hay. So me and my lass, we started a kids' chess club. We just decided to start it in 2008. Because we were lonely and bored and didn't have anything to do early evening. So we started one. And I'm not sociable. But for a couple of months we had nobody coming. Just Esty and Dad going to using the globe with a couple of chessboards. And then, gradually, it turned into this massive fucking thing. We had about 50 coming. And Peter, we even have some kids coming from the estate. It's wonderful. Now maybe you can donate something because but I didn't know I was going to meet you. We're having a championship in a few weeks. It's like, and I'm going to factor in, and it's not going to be like some kind of elitist public school boy, winner takes all, but we don't really think of it like that we get the children from the estate coming to things. Oh really, you fucking dickhead? How the fuck, how other may one fucking term the fact that there are lots of underclass who live in a massive estate that's so badly maintained it's fucking worse than Stalinist, and there's lots of dodgy behaviour around. How other should one refer to that? It's like, it's the happiest thing. We've got kids who's coming up, they're walking, that's only 200 yards. You wouldn't know about that estate 200 yards from your fucking Hay-on-Wye. And lots of the parents didn't actually know that they actually did have a massive estate. Anyway, no, blah, blah, blah. But I'm on Peter Florence's side. The fact that Peter Florence, when he was, this is a comedy. This is beautiful. This is what I've just been riffing about this morning. I think it's 2 years ago. He got kicked out for bullying. I know Britain is false allegation centre of the world. I wrote to him a few months later. Peter, you're a Facebook addict. You haven't put anything on your Facebook to put your side of the story. I don't believe any of these stories. Your children read your Facebook. You need to put something about your side of this story. That's called free speech, matey. In other words, they've been pimping free speech for 25 years there. And the director of Hay Festival, pathetic, absurd retard Florence, doesn't even put, when it's a massive thing, it's in national newspapers. Sorry, matey. It's not a case of I'm on your side, but I know so many people, we're not going to use this word, cancelled. Someone, a woman probably, for her own devious ends, has taken against you and inflated some completely natural situation, and your children have suffered because of that, because it's a public matter, because you're a public person. You've got a responsibility to either put on your Facebook, Peter Florence this is, you can look him up. My CO2 Gurus is still a friend of his, which I don't use any of it. Either put an apology, explain, I went wrong, I'd been drinking too much the last 2 years, too much stress, wife problems, blah, blah, blah. Or stand your ground and say, no, this has been conflated for some fucking prostitute, because all stealing money or jobs is prostitution. Sorry, there's no need for any of that. Somebody's devious malfeasance. Somebody's besmirching me in public for reasons of malfeasance. There you go. And this is actually what happened. No, Peter Florence is totally silent for 2 years, never referred to it, and has gone away and hidden. That's not even a good example. That's not even that is the worst example to give to your children and the next generation. Right, put it on pause. I just want to finish this doing something else. Unpause. In there. To be dealt with later. Oh, we can't look at that. That's all I need for a morning wash. Put it back onto pause because I want to put the bonnet down. I've got to quickly swap batteries because that's my least good in there. If I put that battery in the front there, it will power the phone charger because I'm literally down to 5% now. So I've got to turn it off and I've got to save 1 more minute. So swap batteries because that's the number 2, the more reliable one. Right, pause. Right. Having, as they say, done my ablution. Right, it's so much comes down to in 3 minutes I've got to change my battery. The words. For a younger person, let's be crystal clear. The word clever is not really a good word. If you said of somebody 30 years ago, you're clever, it almost implicitly means you're excluding wisdom. Now, I know for a fact one thing. People coming, and they are a certain type of person. I don't want to be seen. They will stare at me. And in fact, what I'm about to say is, like, you're gonna have to listen to an audio I made a couple of days ago, which I haven't put up yet. But for second or third time, I'm it's 2 women. For the second or third time, I misjudged. How interesting. They have a certain kind of clothing which means that they're okay. And yes, Jordan Peterson. I misjudged Jordan Peterson. I can tell you're okay because you don't dress like most people. You don't dress, I call it performative dressing. No, you get what I mean, don't you? Yeah. And it's like, I write about the countryside, etc. And it's so awful down here. It's like they dress to be seen, to be looking like they're battling Everest. And it's just, it's not needed. I like you. Anyway, what do you think? I'm just making my last video of a huge, great big series. Right. Have you got children? Yeah. I hope they have never encountered these Jordan Peterson videos. He's one of the new age kind of wise sages. Oh no, he's been around. He wrote a book about 15 years ago aimed at young men, sort of 12 rules of life. Well, he's such a pathetic moron, he wouldn't know the following rule, which is, in my opinion, if you come to an area you don't really like and the people are pretty arsey and they're not what they pretend they are, leave when you're ready. Leave when you're at the top of your game. It's like, you must never run away. What do you think about that?
Yeah. You don't have to follow everybody.
But running away is never that good. It's like, wait till you've fully enjoyed the place to its most and you're feeling your best.
Yeah.
But your Jordan Petersons, you see, they're not telling the younger people wisdoms like that. How old are your kids?
In the 20s.
Yeah, you're lucky. Because
Girls.
even round here,
Right.
and I actually used to work with kids a great deal, now the 14 to 16 year olds, they're all of them looking at this Andrew Tate man,
Oh, God.
who's so appalling.
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson was the one before, who he is a professor at a university in Canada, and it's like, if you want to be a man, you've got to learn this rule and this rule and this rule, and you will then get your manhood into you. And he's so terrible. He ended up, although he's a top.
Like brainwashing.
Yeah, but he is so. I've got a 25-year-old, right? I might not like it, but I hate drugs. It's done so much damage. I'm terrified for my daughter's age group. But Jordan Peterson, who is a professor of psychology at Toronto University, ended up getting addicted to barbiturates about 4 years ago. And he made all these videos saying, "Oh, poor me, I'm addicted." No, you idiot. You should set an example to our kids. You know, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, have a nice day.
Yep.
Sorry to disturb you. So where did we get to? Oh, I've got to change my battery. If I don't change my battery, it all goes to pot. So, yes, Jordan Peterson, you see. I made a horrible video about how you can judge people's attitudes by how they rap. Okay. So, apparently, and I just dropped my little spacer, but I have a spare one here, and I shouldn't have both the doors open, but I don't. Right. Remember to pull the spacer out. Okay, that was it. Right. Before anything else, you've got to be back in place. Always have the habit, you see, I always have the habit of, you see, I got behind the curve only because I know that this phone is running out of battery any moment. I should have had those in place first. Right, there we go. And that turned into a palaver. Good fun palaver. She understood exactly what I meant.